Hey, it's Nikki Thompson, and you're listening to Tea with Nikki, embracing your sexual energy. And on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about exploring your yoni. This is going to be quite an interesting little episode. And this is one I've been wanting to do for a little while. Now, before I get into it, I just wanted to thank everyone for being here, listening to this podcast. It means so much to me that people are tuning in every single week. If you're new, then welcome and thank you for your time. I love sharing all about helping women to really embrace their sexual energy and help them to tune into the real you, because it's often hidden, it's often covered in shame stories and limiting beliefs that hold us back from really living the life that we want. So that's what I love talking about. And today I'm going to be talking all about your yoni. Now, yoni means, it's a Sanskrit term, and it actually means the womb and all of the female reproductive organs, vagina, vulva, uterus, things like that. So it's your whole space. And when I talk about exploring your yoni, I have to say that it comes from a place of, I guess, this kind of taboo situation. You know, when I was growing up, and most women listening to this probably have the same kind of stories and experiences. As a little girl, we were always told to close your legs, cross your legs, don't show your underwear, all that kind of stuff, while boys were just running around like nothing else, like no worries in the world. And, it's very common for young children to touch themselves and masturbate in certain ways where it just feels nice and they're just kind of exploring their body. And generally people find it funny that little boys do it, but repulsed almost that little girls do it too. And so from a very young age, we're taught that this whole area is not good to touch, that we shouldn't be enjoying that beautiful little pleasurable sensation we get when we do touch the vulva and the clitoris. And so we tend to not explore that any further. So growing up, I always had this feeling or belief or understanding that my body was actually for other people's pleasure, for the guy that I was with at the time. And it was for his pleasure, not necessarily for my pleasure. And it did take me quite a number of years to actually have my first orgasm, because I grew up very Catholic household. Well, not essentially a Catholic household, but in Catholic schools and things like that. And masturbation was a big fat no-no. And I really didn't think other girls were doing it. My friendship circle, we certainly didn't talk about it. We read about it in Cosmo, but again, it was always about how to get him off and, what is he like, and all those kinds of things, and how to make yourself more appealing to men. And never really about, ourselves and our own body. So growing up with that belief took a really long time, and I've always been quite a sexual woman and felt a lot of shame about that. And so exploring your yoni is all about really listening and tuning into yourself. Does it feel good? What does feel good? If you can't bring yourself to orgasm, it can be often difficult to guide someone else to help you with that as well during an intimate experience. And this is what I find really beautiful for women who do start to explore their sexuality and their whole sexual side, rather than just, very vanilla, essentially, experiences that they feel as though that's the appropriate way to interact with their partner, their husband, or, casual flings even. It's like, how can we explore it so that we know everything about her? Just the fact that the clitoris was understood to be just the tiny little nub in the whole vagina area. That's all they thought it was. I think it was only in maybe 2009, which is not that fucking long ago, that they realized the clitoris is actually massive and wraps around the vagina internally, which is why we can have such intense stimulation internally. It's not a cervical orgasm. It's actually still the clitoris, but it's just like the nerves and the whole body of the clitoris is wrapping around the vagina inside. And I think that's quite amazing. And I also think it's quite spectacular that it was only recently found out in science. But I think it's really important for women to really explore it, to not just explore it physically, but also start to explore it emotionally. Like, what beliefs have you got there that stops you from really being the sexual self that you want to be, if that is what you want to be? What stories are you holding onto that might be telling you that good girls don't masturbate, or good girls don't enjoy incredible sex, or that good girls don't deserve whatever it is? And so exploring it physically as well as emotionally can help you start to move through. And my whole message, my whole philosophy and focus of the programs I put out there, the coaching that I do, the workshops that I host, is all about really tuning into yourself and listening to your internal body, listening to your sexual energy, your intuition or your gut, however you want to explain it, as opposed to always seeking permission or justification or appreciation from external influences. Because when we're always relying on that external influences, it can skew us, it can stall us, it can make us feel stuck in a space because we're waiting for other people to recognize us. We're waiting for other people to say, yes, that's a great idea, or yes, you should do this. Or, we don't actually start to really trust ourselves. This was my biggest lesson. This was my biggest hurdle to overcome, was trusting myself. Growing up, I felt as though I couldn't make the right decision because the decision I wanted to make, I knew someone close to me wasn't going to agree with it. And I felt like I don't want to upset them. I don't want to hurt them. And therefore I would feel this stuckness. Is that even a word? I'm sure it's a word, where I wouldn't make any decision because I didn't trust the decision I was going to make was the right decision. And I always felt as though I had to be perfect. Otherwise, and so therefore, if I didn't make the right decision, I wasn't going to be perfect. And so I would often find myself in these positions where I would just go over problems over and over in my head because I was too scared to make a decision. And yet, if I had learnt these lessons a long time ago, I could have understood the true power of my sexual energy and my intuition that would always guide me. We've always had those butterflies in our stomach, or that feeling a bit nauseous, or, just something's not quite right, but we often don't listen to it because other people are saying, this is a great idea, you should be doing this, even if it didn't feel right to me. And so I learned not to listen to my intuition for a very long time. But the more we can explore our yoni, our vagina, our sexual energy, our entire body, the more we can trust what she's saying, the more we can listen, the more we can make quicker decisions and trust in the decision that you're making. Because I can make a fucking quick decision, but quite often I'm constantly looking back at that decision thinking, oh shit, that's not right. Wait a minute. Hang on a second. And so I would constantly make these decisions and be backtracking and just not trusting in that. And if someone didn't agree, I would then start reevaluating my decision and thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? They have to be right. I always felt like those around me who I did trust were always more right than myself, even if my gut was telling me to go for it. So these are lessons I've learned probably since I turned 30. And, I wish I had have learnt them earlier, but, at the same time, I don't think we can. We learn the lessons when we learn the lessons. And this is why I do the podcast, because I want to share the lessons I've learned so that women listening who perhaps haven't learnt these lessons yet, then I am able to kind of open their mind, pique their interest, that they start to explore down this path of exploring their bodies, exploring their emotions, and seeing how they can fully embrace their sexual energy as well, to start making the life and creating the life that you really want. Because when we know ourselves, when we know our true self, then the decisions we make are so much easier and we can trust those decisions. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to come and join me over on social media with Nikki Thompson. And over there, I am doing a weekly mini masterclass as well as a monthly workshop. These are all online. These are all free. And we're exploring so many good things. So November's workshop is Feeling Numb, How to Stop Living on Autopilot. And we've got a workshop coming up in December. Again, this is a free online workshop. And it's called Life is Allowed to Be Easy and Fun. So we're going to be diving into that topic in December, where it's like the prime time where shit just hits the fan, because again, we're taking on external pressure from everybody else about how the holiday season is meant to be. But we can redefine that. We can make it easy. We can make it fun if that's what we want it to be. So I hope you have the most epic week, and I will chat to you next week. Bye.